What we eventually accomplish may depend more on our passion and perseverance than on our innate talent. Angela Duckworth. Do you know someone that always seems to succeed when others fail? One that sets goals and achieves them without fail? Someone who never gives up, who would seemingly run through a wall to accomplish what they set out to get. These people have grit. According to psychologist Dr. Angela Duckworth, grit is made up of passion and perseverance and is the leading attribute that all high achievers share. She believes that people who succeed aren't special. They don't have more talent than the average person. They simply have more grit. And the best part is that you too can develop and increase the amount of grit that you approach your life and goals with. It starts with understanding the components of grit. See, grit equals passion plus perseverance. Passion is about knowing deep down what you want and why you want it. Perseverance is accepting the hard work and obstacles that you will have to face and doing it anyway. Too many people assume that successful people are just innately talented or lucked out. Sure, talent plays a part, but a talented person who sits on the couch and watches Netflix all day won't accomplish anything. A person with half the talent who works for 8, 10, or even 16 hours a day will succeed over the couch potato in every single case. Duckworth puts it this way: our potential is one thing. What we do with it is quite another. You may have heard this put another way. There is a popular quote that says, "Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard." See, grit is a key component to effort, and effort is a key to achievement. A gritty person will put forth the effort that a talented person may not. This is where success comes from. Duckworth has broken achievement down into two different formulas. The first is talent times effort equals skill, and the second is skill times effort equals achievement. Effort is doubly important. Talent without effort doesn't lead to any skill at all. Having the skill, but not putting in any effort, gets nothing done. Effort is twice as important as either skill or talent in determining if you will achieve your goals or not. An interesting test was done at Harvard. A group of students were asked to run on a treadmill for as long as possible. 40 years later, the students were tracked down and did interviews to find out how they had done in life. Those who went on to become the most successful were also the people who pushed themselves the hardest on the treadmill. Thus, the ones that gave the most effort on the treadmill. The good news is that you too can develop this grit. Psychologists have determined 4 assets that help you develop and increase your grit. Each of these can be developed and nurtured by your actions and beliefs. The first is discovering your interests. It is hard to be passionate about something that you hate. It is hard to persist through the hard times, especially when the activity that you're doing makes you feel miserable. By starting with something that interests you, or that you truly enjoy, you can make the days that require grit easier to overcome. The second is practice. While effort alone will get you a long way, without the skill component, you will never truly reach high achievement. For this, you need deliberate practice. This is the type of practice that involves more than just going through the motions. It requires you to thoughtfully and strategically practice what you are doing in order to improve. Malcolm Gladwell popularized the 10,000 hour rule, which basically states that you need 10,000 hours of deliberate practice to become world-class at anything. While getting an extraordinary amount of practice does not guarantee success, sticking with something that long does require a level of perseverance and thus grit. The third, a sense of purpose. The author defines purpose as the intention to contribute to the well-being of others. While everyone is known to pursue short-term pleasures, gritty people have a higher tendency of trying to help and contribute to other people's well-being. This purpose helps to fuel forward momentum even after confronting failure after failure. And the fourth is nurturing hope. Hope is the belief that the work, effort, and struggles that you are going through today will improve your life in the future. Hope is one of the key components to perseverance, so practicing a growth mindset, one where you can always improve, is vital for developing grit. Developing these 4 psychological assets will help you fight through the long days and evenings of toil, the setbacks and disappointments, the struggle and sacrifice, because you know and believe that all of it will ultimately benefit you, the ones you care about, and possibly others that you hadn't even considered. The 4 concepts that we've already covered allow you to develop grit from inside out. The next part of the book talks about developing grit the opposite way, from the outside in. Duckworth starts this section with parenting for grit. It isn't necessarily your biological parent. It is anyone responsible for teaching, shaping, and molding a younger individual. By encouraging the young to push through adversity, to face challenges head on, you are encouraging them to develop perseverance that leads to grit. Not only can you do this for a younger generation, you can look for friends, role models, and icons to look up to and do the same thing for you, regardless of your age. The next is providing a training ground for grit. Your ability to follow through is directly related to your grit. Therefore, every time you set a goal and achieve it, you develop grit. You set a goal, you accomplish it, you develop grit. This can be done in a number of ways. For example, pick up your guitar and play for 5 minutes each day. Plan to, and then actually run 5 days a week. Limit yourself to 1 cup of coffee in the morning. By setting small goals and then hitting them, you start to develop this habit of following through. You become someone who does follow through. The more you do this, the more likely you are to continue to follow through, even when things get tough. And that is grit. Finally, developing a culture of grit. You are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Jim Rohn. Culture is a group's shared norms and values. Surround yourself with other people who value grit. People who go out and do what they say they are going to do. People who routinely set goals and then accomplish them. Think about it. Athletes tend to hang out with athletes. CEOs and business people tend to spend time around other business-minded people. The same can be said for victims and the downtrodden. Misery loves company, after all. Remember, what we eventually accomplish may depend more on our passion and perseverance than on our innate talent. So you aren't as talented as other people. That's fine. Grit shows and explains, with interviews and science, why having passion and perseverance is way more important than raw talent. After reading it, you should also have the tools to help you develop and improve your own grit. And since you made it this far, we assume that you enjoyed the video, so please do us a favor and hit that thumbs up button to help out the channel, and subscribe so you get notified whenever we release new animations.